Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank all of you for being here. Just seems from observing that all four of you, seem to have a heightened sense of right and wrong, a heightened sense of wanting to help others and to make this world a better place. I greatly appreciate that. Appreciate you being here. Mr. Turley, you've talked about the classes that your organization provides, and it sounds like those were immensely helpful. I'm wondering, are there any classes on parenting?
Yeah, so one, we have groups. We usually have, I'll give you a perfect example. We've had generations, 74-year-old grandmom, mom, granddaughter, come to our classes the first time, help with parenting and create scenarios there, as well as those are first time people have ever held a firearm, knew about what it was, so forth and so on. I think the bigger portion of that, again, because I know we're having a conversation about gun violence or violence in general, but we're also having a conversation about culture shifting back in the direction of a nuclear family scenario.
Yeah.
These are the conversations that we have.
Talk about nuclear families.
Absolutely. So we're in it
because we talked about improving the poverty situation.
Right.
And the surveys seem to indicate very clearly you got a better shot of not living in poverty, regardless of race, if you have
a structure,
nuclear family.
Right. So I have a friend who does this event called Aiming for the Truth, and he famously says how, you show someone in parenting how, okay, I'm a parent, this is my wife, this is my, my husband, and these are our children. That's the equity for your family, right? You build that equity up. Firearms in the Second Amendment, safe and responsible ownership is how you defend that equity, okay? So these are things that we deal with at our classes. Again, every one of the panelists today have made this clear in a sense of, and I don't want to sound so broken recordish, but this is a holistic approach. The only area that we may have some sort of disagreement is the lack of legislating or asking more people, as more so than education. Yeah. So the parental component of that is definitely in our classes at every single one.
Well, it sounds like what you've been teaching is immensely helpful. But I think about John Adams when he became second president. He made the statement talking about our Constitution. This Constitution is intended for a moral and a religious people. It is wholly inadequate for the government of any other. So it constantly occurs to me, if we're not going to get back to teaching right and wrong,
correct,
and the best place for that seems to be in the home, then we're going to end up not only getting rid of the Second Amendment, we can't have freedom of assembly because there'll be problems, freedom of speech, we got to cut that out. It only works if people are taught about right and wrong.
Our classes deal with morality and understanding what those high levels of morals are. Again, as I said earlier, you cannot legislate morality. It has to be educated. It has to be cultural. We have to have a paradigm shift in these regards that makes a young person, like the brother said, not even want to pick up a gun to be violent in the first place.
Well,
or a knife, or a bat.
Right, like in Rwanda, they didn't have guns hardly, but they had enough machetes to kill 800,000 people,
right.
Mainly with machetes. It's the evil that's in the heart,
right,
that needs to be stopped. But I saw it over and over as a felony judge, the thousands of cases that came through my court. So often there was no father, or a mother was working 3 jobs and she wasn't around as much because she was trying to do what she could. And it, regardless of what you think or dislike anybody about the Bible, I've found it intriguing, I believe, but intriguing, the last verse of the Old Testament before it's silent for 400 years, it's talking about the end. When he comes, he will turn the hearts of the fathers back to the children and the hearts of the children back to the fathers. And it just seems like when those are out of sync and fathers don't care, we're in trouble.
Right.
And I appreciate all that you're doing to try to make this a better place, and hope we can work together toward that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.